Welcome to another episode of the MMA Lock-Cast. I'm your host, Manpreet, aka MMA Lock of the Night, and your boy on Twitter at MMA LOTN. We're back for UFC 242, headlined by a huge fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov. Let me do that again. Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Dustin Poirier. Great, huge lightweight fight. Probably the second biggest lightweight fight they can currently make. So I'm super excited for it. And then we also have Paul Felder versus Edson Barboza in the co-main event, which is a barn burner of a fight. It's going to be a striking battle, in my opinion. I think if anybody's going to go for a takedown, it's probably Paul Felder. But we'll see once the fight actually happens. But we're back this week for the casuals. My man Big Rob is back. It feels like forever since we've heard from him.
Man. It does feel like quite some time.
Right? We're just having some chit chat earlier before we started recording about like music songs and how they're able to like trigger emotions in people. And then I also showed him how I never knew this in the years and years I listened to the song Uptown by Drake, which most of my hip hop fans will know, featuring Bun B and Lil Wayne. It actually samples fucking Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. Had no fucking clue.
Didn't know either.
No idea. It tripped me that I saw it somewhere and it just triggered me. I'm like, why is Billy Joel getting credit on this song? And then it turns out they actually sampled it. So if you never knew, now you fucking know. You're welcome. But this week with the casuals, we're actually going to be going into the main event of this past weekend. So let me just set the scene for you real quick. UFC, one of their fights in China. They're in Shenzhen, China. I'm sure you're familiar with everything that's going on there with Hong Kong and the whole protest and all that type of shit.
Big time, man.
So this was kind of good in terms of like having a girl going up for a title. So this was a title fight. Okay. It's good to have that type of person in that position to kind of like almost carry the country on her back, but try to set what do they call it? A role model. They want to set like a mold, like be a representation of them, right? So like it was perfectly lined up for this girl to the amount of time she's won and that she deserves a title shot, in my opinion at least. And she gets this opportunity to compete in front of her home fans. So this is the champion, Jessica Andrade. She's a Brazilian coming into China to defend her belt, which is kind of skeptical if you just think about it logically. But she had won the title in Brazil. So the opponent that she fought at that time came to Brazil, fought her, and then, now she's in that same girl's position. She's the champion coming into her opponent's home country, home base. And this is a pretty fun fight, which is why I'm only showing it from the beginning, because it doesn't last that long.
Oh, they're very quick.
Well, yeah. So that girl, this girl's like a berserker. The girl in the black, very much a berserker. She just launches shots, tries to knock girls out, and then just gets a little bit too
close,
overzealous.
And then wow, that's what happens when you get too close. Oh, she's getting kneed in the face. Oh, she's down. There's no getting back up. Whoa, backflips stuff.
Dude, the precision that she was able to defeat that girl with.
That was sick.
And variety too, not just punches to the head. She's kneeing her body, she's kneeing her head, she's, elbowing. She's like doing everything you could possibly think of in such a short period of time.
It was.
It was perfect. That much?
Yeah, it was like, here's an opening, boom. Here's an opening, boom. Here's an opening. Like, whereas I thought the other girl was going to basically kick her ass.
So the other girl was like the solid favorite in this. Like it was almost pretty much everybody's safe pick, and it's the girl that I picked against. In the last video where I was kind of getting shit on, I'm like, this girl has a really good chance of winning, and she showed exactly why. She's a crisper striker, she's the more precise striker, and the more like disciplined striker.
Definitely.
The other girl just likes to wing forward and just overwhelm girls, but this girl, like, you saw, like, you'll see the I'm still playing it because the replay's coming up, but you'll see her like kind of thought process of, okay, I'm gonna wait, and then land straight. Very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Big win in China too. Huge win in China for her. Never had a UFC champion from China before. First ever Chinese champion. Watch this now. They'll eventually slow it down, but just
so fast.
Like she's just finding the little bit of openings,
and that's all happening in seconds.
I know.
Wow.
She doesn't relent.
Yeah, I mean, she can't even get away.
Right.
She basically went into a fetal position.
Look at it. Watch this one shot that she landed. This one coming up right there. How precise that was. She was waiting for her to open up a little bit, and she just landed it straight, right in between her shots. Fuck. Oh, beautiful elbow. Knees to the body. Elbow again. Knee. Knee to the head. Right hand to put her down. And she lost right in front of her corner, too. Her corner was like right beside. What?
Oh, so that's all the
The
staff.
corner's right here.
Yeah.
Just watching her get beat down.
Oh, man, that's awful.
Oh. Right there. That's her corner right there. Fuck, dude. Nuts. In my opinion, one of the crazier finishes I've ever seen. Sequence as well. Not just like, obviously there's like the appeal of like that one punch knockout, like the one uppercut that just lays the guy out. But to see something like this is way more impressive in my opinion.
You know what it reminds me of? When you're playing a video game and it's like
It's Street Fighter? Yeah.
22 hit combo.
Yo, let me see what the UFC has as first stats. 23 out of 34 strikes. So she landed 23 out of 34. She threw 34 strikes and landed 23 of them.
Shit.
All of them were considered significant strikes as well.
Oh my
68% significant strike accuracy. Insane.
Oh my god.
Insane. In 43 seconds. Realistically, once she started that barrage, it was maybe
yeah.
like, what, 20 seconds?
Yeah.
Insane, dude.
I'm impressed.
She's very, very impressive. She's 20-1 now. She's only ever lost her first ever fight. And she's been looking really good. If she can continue winning, she could be one of the biggest stars in the world simply because of China. Like, that's what made Conor McGregor. That's what made Conor McGregor so famous. Other than like his shit talking and like his just persona.
Why? Because
he has a country behind him. He has Ireland. He had all of Ireland.
And that was like really
so whenever
even
when he would fight in Vegas,
yeah,
like Ireland would fly down.
Shut up.
Literally, like there was
That's
a huge
awesome.
population.
He had a
of people.
huge following.
I went for one of his biggest fights in Vegas, and they legit took over. The Irish took over.
Half of Ireland was there.
Pretty much. Everybody sitting around us was like Irish.
That's awesome.
I went to a fight where he fought in Boston with my girl.
Okay, cool.
Even there's a lot of huge Irish population.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if Chinese fans will, because Irish people are known for like fighting.
Sure, yeah.
They're the more
Yeah.
guys out there, right?
Boxing.
Chinese, I guess they're a little bit more polite, respectful. Okay. So I hope that they actually stick to it because she's really good, and to have a backing of a whole country.
Oh yeah.
Fucking take it.
I like that, man. That's pretty cool.
Goddamn. Yeah. I was in shock, like absolute shock. Goddamn. All right.
She did a good job.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I got to share that moment with you because I watched it like Cottage Weekend, just barely in it. But I needed to rewatch it, and I just wanted to save it for you just so I could
Thanks, man.
Get it again. All right. Appreciate having you on as always, Big Rob. You're the fucking man.
Thank you.
All right. Rob's like, get me out of here. All right. So before we get into UFC 242, UFC Shenzhen, which is what we just talked about, I fucking killed it. Pretty simple. We went for a sweep, 3-0 on our picks. Lock of the night hits. So let's just quickly go through that. I had Anthony Hernandez and Junyoung Park to not go to a decision, 5 units at -170. That shit hit. I was surprised that it even got down to like -155, -160. I believed it closer on the -170 line, but regardless, I'm just happy to get that line. I thought there was a lot of value there, so I had to fucking take the hit there or take the shot, and bang, baby. Next up, we had my dog of the night play. I had a 0.5 unit stab on I can't remember his name, but it was Jung. But 0.5 units at +240. That cashes. Probably should have gone the full unit, but I always fucking say that after I hit a bet. You always want to go harder, especially when you hit it. And then lastly, I had 2 units on Damir Ismagulov, who was actually parlayed with Movsar Evloev, who had to pull out on the fight day due to his opponent. I think it was fight day or the day before the fight. His opponent had to pull out due to a cut. So that ended up just being a 2-unit play at -181 on Ismagulov. I love it, man. Like, that guy is a beast. I think he's a force to be reckoned with. He's very, very disciplined and one of the better strikers in the division. So I can't wait to see how he continues to evolve. This win over Thiago Moises is very big. So I'm happy that he was able to get that name under his belt. Somewhat of a name. Most fans may not know him, but Moises is a motherfucker. So big win for him there. I can't wait to see what he has to come up. But plus 5.24 units on UFC Shenzhen to end it all. Great night for me. Couldn't be happier. That's two events in a row now. We got the third one coming up with UFC 242, which is which has some spots, just scanning the odds. There are definitely some spots. I haven't 100% set on a lock of the night play for that. However, I do believe that I know who I'm going to bet on for my lock of the night play. But I also want to wait till props come out too. So we'll make sure to check that out and give you guys the best advice I can on you, and or at least give you guys the best official free bets that I can give you guys, and we can cash on this shit. But quick thoughts about UFC 242. I think it's a solid card overall. It's one of those foreign Abu Dhabi cards, so they still have a couple questionable fights on this. But still happy with some of the names that we're going to get to see. Don Madge, the return of Don Madge, we all remember him cashing as a huge underdog for some people against Tay Edwards his last time around. Return of Omari Akhmedov, who feels like he doesn't fight that much, but he did fight earlier this year against Zach Cummings. That's a great fight in my opinion, at least for an MMA nerd like myself. Nordine Taleb versus Muslim Salikhov should be a great fight. Nordine, pretty easy path to victory in my opinion, but yeah. I love Belal Muhammad. I'm glad that he's fighting. His fight against Sato should be really impressive, or at least really fun. What else do we got? Sarah Moras somehow making an appearance. Debut of Lerone Murphy, who I'm kind of excited for. Andrea Lee against Joanne Calderwood. I think that's a decent fight at 125. Return of Mairbek Taisumov. That's my motherfucker right there. I'm huge on that guy. I love him, and I love him. But I think that he's going to do some big things in that 155 division. So it's great to have him back, especially against a decent opponent like Diego Ferreira. Maybe not the biggest name, but at least a name that may be able to establish himself again at that 155 division. Curtis Blaydes coming back against Abdur Rahimov. Can't wait for that. Makhachev against Davy Ramos is a great fight. Felder against Barboza in the co-main event. And then obviously our lightweight main event with Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Dustin Poirier. So why waste any time? I don't have much time, speaking of time. I do have a guest coming on in a very little bit, just like I had for the last pay-per-view event. He's going to be helping me break down the main event, but I'm just going to leave you guys in a little bit of a suspense until we get to him, to actually introduce him. So a couple of these fights I'm just going to scan through just so I can dedicate a little bit more time to others, since I do have the short amount of time. But again, always make sure you guys follow me at MMA TN on Twitter to get any thoughts that I might have that I could break down even further for you guys for Don Madge. Sorry, not Don Madge, but like opponent certain fights that I will be scanning through. Apologies, guys. All right, let's fucking get into this. Kicking the card off, we have Don Madge against Ferreira Ziam. Fuck, I probably butchered that one. Regardless, like I said off the top, Don Madge coming back after he finished Tay Edwards 14 seconds into the second round. I was impressed with him, not to say the least. I thought Tay Edwards was too big of a favorite in that fight due to the, again, I love to call it like the wrestler striking style, which is just the big looping hooks, always blitzing forward, but always kind of leaving the straight line open. So Don Madge was able to, take advantage of that, find the openings in Tay Edwards' striking, and then eventually get the finish in that second round. I'm impressed with his striking. He's a little bit lanky. He presents a lot of trouble for most people that aren't as finessed as him on the feet. But he's coming in against Ferreira Ziam. Need to check this guy out a little bit more, but I'm not impressed. And I do think that Don Madge eventually takes this by finishing the second round. Don't want to get too far into that one. Just saying. Next up, Zach Cummings against Omari Akhmedov. This is a very interesting style. I think that grappling-wise, they're kind of on the same level. I think that Zach Cummings has a slight advantage on the feet, and I think he also has the advantage in the cardio. So if you want to break it down as simple as that, you got to edge it to Zach Cummings a little bit, but sometimes you got to question his fight IQ. I do like his grappling, and I think that he could submit Omari Akhmedov later in the fight, but would I be comfortable betting him? Currently, no. My mind might change depending on how the odds sway, but I do feel like Zach will win this fight comfortably and not really have to worry about getting grinded out in that third round, and I think that's where actually he'll probably get a finish as well. So I'm going to take Zach Cummings by third round finish. I just, Omari Akhmedov is a very imposing guy when he can actually keep his gas tank, even though he has won his last 3 fights. I still don't think that he'll be able to put up with somebody like a Zach Cummings, who I believe, has more to offer, at least in the cardio realm, than guys like Khal Noak, Abdul Razak Al Hazan, and Tim Boach. So I am taking Zach Cummings here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Omari Akhmedov at least win one of the first round, at least a round and a half, maybe even 2 rounds. But I think that Zach Cummings will really come on in the third and take over. But I don't trust to bet him at the current price that he's sitting at. So just, again, check out my Twitter throughout the week. I might change my opinion on that and maybe bet Zach Cummings, but as of right now, I'm going to stay put. Next up, we got Nordine Taleb against Muslim Salikhov. This is a very intriguing fight. Nordine Taleb is a pretty seasoned striker and pretty much a vet as well, 21 fights in. I think that his striking is decent enough to kind of hang with a guy like Muslim Salikhov, but I think that that might be where he gets into trouble if that's where he decides to keep it. He might have the cockiness, maybe to maybe make a statement on the feet, but I truly think that if he decides to take this fight to the ground, just as his teammate who fought Muslim Salikhov recently too, if you take him down, you will probably be able to find a sub or at least control him there. With that fact alone, I kind of like Nordine Taleb in this fight. It's hard for me to trust him too. I don't know what it is. I just can't pull the trigger, and I think that Muslim Salikhov is very, very, he is very impressive and he's a very good fighter, but it's tough to bet him against a guy that has the tools like a guy like Nordine Taleb. So I'll go with Nordine Taleb here to win. Maybe I'm going to say decision. I think he grinds him out. But at the current price, I just don't want to bet Nordine Taleb either. All right, next up we got Belal Muhammad against Takashi Sato. Takashi Sato is coming off a win over Ben Saunders. He dropped him, finished him in the second round. I was impressed with him. He throws very well on the feet. Decent takedown defense. I think that he's going to have a lot on his plate with Belal Muhammad, who's kind of like the best fighter all around. I think I've said it in past videos that I've recorded that he's not the best at one thing, but he is really good at everything once you put it together. And I think that's why he's been so successful. But when he comes against guys that are like super crafted in an area like a Jeff Neal or a Vicente Luque, he runs into some trouble. The Curtis Millender fight, we saw the fight before that with Millender, that if you decide to impose your grappling and are able to kind of close the distance and get past the striking of Curtis Millender, you'll be able to take him down, you'll be able to control him, and you'll pretty much be able to bully him, just like Belal's nickname actually is. So decent win for him there. But in this fight against Takashi Sato, I think he needs to be very careful on the feet. We've seen that he can be rocked in the past before, but I think his ability to put the fight completely together will allow him to win, but I think that the minus 350ish that I've seen him at last time is just not a price that I'm willing to play on Belal Muhammad. You can't completely count out Takashi Sato because he does have knockout power, but Belal Muhammad, he can be hit, and at minus 360, I don't know, I might even take a shot at Takashi Sato now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper, but fuck it, I'll take Takashi Sato for the upset. I called a few underdogs last time around. I'm gonna go with Sato as my dog here. It kind of hurts to say that because I love Belal Muhammad. He's a great fighter, and he does put the MMA game really well together. But with the way that Sato throws and the power that he has behind his hands, I think he has a really good shot at winning this fight. So I'm gonna take Sato by second round TKO. I don't know what more to say about that, but Belal Muhammad, too heavy of a favorite in my opinion. So I wouldn't even throw Muhammad in a parlay at that point. Maybe wait till he's about minus 250ish if you want to think about betting him, minus 200 even. But yeah, I can't bet him straight at this price, and I am interested in Takashi Sato, maybe around the plus 250ish range. I gotta see what he's currently sitting at. You know what? Let me pull that shit up right now. I don't know why the fuck I don't have that up. Bang. Yeah, let's confirm that. Sato, wow. Close to plus 348 on Bookmaker, plus 300 on Sportbet. Man. Whew, people continue to bet Belal, but we'll see. All right, but I'm going to take Sato by second round TKO. Next up, we got Teemu Packalén against Ottman Azaitar. Not going to go too far into this. Azaitar making his UFC debut after, having a pretty impressive stretch of finishes. And then Teemu Packalén, I believe this is his return to the UFC. No, it's just been a long time since he's fought. I'm going to take Azaitar by decision. Going to scooch over these next two fights, or skim over these next two fights. Sarah Moras against Liana Jojua. Not sure why Jojua is in the UFC, simply because she's probably fighting close to home. But I'm going to take Sarah Moras by submission, but not worth the underdog stab in my opinion either. Next up, Zubaira Tukhugov against Lerone Murphy. Interesting things in this fight. So Zubaira Tukhugov, obviously a training partner of Khabib. They're kind of like brothers, so it's only fitting that they're fighting on the same card. Last time we saw Zubaira Tukhugov, it was May 2016. So it's been close to over 3.5 years. That's insane. Long layoff for him. With Renato Moicano, he lost a split decision there. Moicano just showing he's the better striker overall there. Lerone Murphy, though, he's an interesting prospect. He's 8-0. His competition to date is kind of, to be desired, even though his last two opponents, 8-3 and 7-1, I guess, UK doesn't have the best offer on the prospect scene, possibly, but he has been very impressive. He has a lot of knockout power. He's very strong. If he can fend off and shuck off the takedowns of Zubaira Tukhugov, he has a good chance of winning this fight. It looks like anybody and everybody that he's hit can easily, go down. I believe Zubaira is probably the toughest guy he's ever fought, so I think that Zubaira probably will have may have a decent chance on the feet. At least a decent chance to win this fight by taking this fight to the ground. And just due to the fact that we don't really have much tape on Lerone Murphy to see if he's able to, shuck off takedowns and actually get back to his feet if he is taken down, it's kind of tough. He is sitting at a ridiculous number, which is currently plus 400ish, plus 385. If he gets near that maybe plus 500 range, I'll probably drop a 0.5 unit stab on him, just due to Zubaira's inactivity and just this sheer knockout power of Lerone Murphy. If you have a dog that big that could possibly land on this guy, why not take a small shot? So I'll take Tukhugov by decision, but I may bet Lerone if he hits plus 500 if he gets steamed a little bit later this week. Next up, we got Joanne Calderwood versus Andrea Lee. Andrea. This is actually one of my leans for my lock of the night plays, to be honest. I kind of faded Andrea Lee last time around with Montana De La Rosa. That was simply because I was very, very high on Montana De La Rosa. I thought that her progression as a fighter and then her wrestling pedigree was really going to be a problem for a lot of these girls, and I thought that she was going to be able to exploit Andrea Lee's game here. However, she wasn't able to do that. Andrea Lee showed that she was the better fighter, was able to keep the fight on the feet, and then just completely outstruck her. I think that she has a very good chance of winning this fight against Joanne Calderwood as well. I think that she is the better striker, and that's kind of like Joanne's game. She's mainly a striker, and I think that even though she has made some improvements in her jiu-jitsu, I think that Andrea Lee is just too good on the ground to stay out of any of the submissions that Joanne Calderwood actually throws up at her. I find it hard to see a scenario where Joanne Calderwood actually wins this fight. She doesn't have knockout power. I don't think she has the pace that an Andrea Lee will put on her. I don't think that she has a ground game to submit Andrea Lee. And I don't think that if she even gets Andrea Lee down, which I don't think she will, she'll have a very, very hard time keeping her down too. So I think in all facets, pretty much Andrea Lee has Joanne Calderwood beat. And I think around that minus 220-ish, minus 225-ish range that she's at, she holds good value. Her odds are actually getting better, so I might just wait it out. I could easily hit her at minus 214 right now on Pinnacle. But I'm going to wait it out a little bit. Maybe people are going to hop on that Joanne Calderwood train a bit. We might be able to get a price better than minus 200, so I'm going to wait. But I really like Andrea Lee here. I think that she wins. I don't see where Joanne Calderwood beats her, and I think that people are simply betting Joanne Calderwood for value at this point, but I don't think there is much on her, to be honest. I like the chick, you know, Bad Mofo Jojua is a bad bitch, but I just think that Andrea Lee is much better at this point in time, and I think that she wins. So I'm going to take Andrea Lee by decision, and she's possibly going to be a lock of the night play. So make sure you guys hit that. Wait for minus 200, I would say. All right. Next up, we got Mairbek Taisumov versus Diego Ferreira. So I really want to bet. Mairbek Taisumov here. But I think that the odds are currently a little bit too long. If he gets under the minus 200 range, I would possibly consider betting him. He's currently the best I can get is minus 249 on Sportbet. Yeah, if he gets below the minus 200 range, I do believe that people will bet Diego Ferreira at the current number that he is. So maybe that's something that we want to monitor at least throughout the week, because I believe that it will be a great addition to your betting slip. If he gets to minus 200, even a 2-unit stab at minus 200 is probably the best thing that you can do, just to get that 1 unit. But I believe that... Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to find one thing. Just something I want to reference. All right. Apologies for that. All right. So with Mairbek Taisumov, you're getting a guy that's a really good striker. I swear it's not notes that I pulled up. It's just something else. I believe he is the better striker. Diego Ferreira has fallen in love with his striking in his last couple fights. And I think that Ferreira, I hope he doesn't get a little bit too crazy or gun crazy on the field with Mairbek Taisumov, because I think that would be a very bad choice for him. I think that Mairbek Taisumov has decent enough wrestling to keep this fight on the feet. I've seen him on Instagram alone training a lot of his wrestling, and it seems he's doing pretty well there. I believe he trains with the Austrian national team as well. And then, the time that he puts in at Tiger Muay Thai, this guy is a beast. Probably one of the best striking, most disciplined fighters. He left a little bit to be desired in his last fight against Desmond Green, but I believe that he has much more to show to that. So there might be a little bit of recency bias here, but I think that people really need to, people backing Diego Ferreira need to be very wary of the fact that he's been comfortable in the stand-up region, and the fact that he's been getting wins that way as well too. That might not be the best thing for a guy who should rely more so on his jiu-jitsu, especially in a fight like this. But it's hard for me to see a way that Diego Ferreira actually gets Mairbek Taisumov down, and I think that he gets absolutely starched on the feet. So I'm going to continue to monitor that line for Mairbek Taisumov. If it reaches around the minus 210-ish range even, I would feel comfortable laying down 2.5 units to win a unit. 2.1 units to win a unit. But man, anything more than that, I don't know why, I just don't feel comfortable with it. But I think he is a force to be reckoned with, and he will definitely be one of the top fighters in that division as long as he can stay consistent. Don't know why the fuck he can't get his visa issues cleared. Is he a murderer? Is he a bad man? I have no idea, but I'm a huge fan of him as of right now, and I can't wait for him to get even bigger fights after he notches this victory over Diego Ferreira, which I'm going to say is he's going to win by decision, completely outpointing Ferreira on the feet. Maybe we see a finish, maybe, but I'll go with the decision. All right, next up we got Curtis Blaydes against Shamil Abdurrahimov. Curtis Blaydes is coming off an ass whooping of Justin Willis in his last fight. I'm sure, even though he likes getting finishes or wants to get finishes, I think he enjoyed beating up Justin Willis for 15 minutes, since that guy talks so much goddamn shit. And we just, we saw what makes Curtis Blaydes such a great fighter. His durability in terms of, keeping a pace up for 15 minutes and walking through shots and just putting a pace on guys that guys aren't able to keep up with. that's why he's such a great fighter. I think that he has a lot of potential. He just unfortunately keeps running into Francis Ngannou, so maybe he'll find a way around him to get a title shot this time around. But him sitting at minus 500, crazy line. I think that he should be, I guess he should be that big of a favorite because I believe he is better than Shamil Abdurakhimov almost anywhere. But the one thing that you have to do, or you have to be careful of here, is Shamil Abdurakhimov actually has knockout power himself too. So he's finished Marcin Tybura and Chase Sherman in his last couple fights, but I think that he is very capable of landing on Curtis Blaydes and putting him out. I don't think that Justin Willis really had the knockout power to finish a guy like Curtis Blaydes, but I think that, you know, with a big heavyweight like Shamil, who has shown knockout power in the past, he needs to be wary. But in all facets of the game, I think he wins. So I'm going to take Curtis Blaydes by probably third round TKO. I think he continues to get him down and then eventually pounds him out in the last round. But I would be very wary of a one-punch knockout from Shamil Abdurakhimov. So that's why I'll probably keep Curtis Blaydes off of any parlays. But that guy's very talented. I'll say that. All right, next up, Islam Makhachev against Davy Hamosh. I'm very excited for this fight too. This is almost a grappler's delight if Islam Makhachev decides to take it there. So we know what Makhachev's game really is. He likes to grind guys out. His stand-up is slowly getting better, but I think that his main game is the grappling game, which is what makes this fight so enticing. Davy Hamosh, one of the greatest jiu-jitsu guys to ever, wear a gi. Kenny Florian's really high on this guy. He has a lot of credentials. Very strong guy as well at this weight class. So it's going to be interesting to see how Islam Makhachev actually deals with the strength of Davy Hamosh. But it's tough for me to confidently go out there and bet Islam Makhachev, especially above minus 300, even above minus 250. I think he needs to be around minus 225-ish as well, and I think that Davy Hamosh actually holds some value here. So at that plus 275 range, it's a very, very it's very fun. I shouldn't say fun. It's very good that he's at that range because I think that's worth stabbing distance. So I may eventually bet Davy Hamosh. I want to see even if he gets above plus 300. But I think it's just tough to bet Islam at that high. He is very skilled and he definitely has the tools to win this fight. And I think his BJJ is decent enough to stall out. But I think that Hamosh's strength and just his jiu-jitsu credibility and his experience will definitely pay dividends here. So you're taking Islam Makhachev and putting him into a fight where his strength is his opponent's strength as well. And that strength is very high level too. So Islam might not have as many, jiu-jitsu accolades as Davy Hamosh, but I think that he is skilled enough to stay out of submissions. However, you never know. It's the first time Makhachev has actually fought somebody this credentialed in jiu-jitsu, in my opinion, and at least somebody that's relatively in their prime and fighting some of the best fights they've fought, pretty much. So hopefully Davy Hamosh doesn't really come out there and lay an egg and kind of like just get by on a win against like he did against Austin Hubbard. I know a lot of people that lost money on the inside the distance there, but I think that if this goes the full 15, there's a good chance that Islam Makhachev wins this fight. But I think that Davy Hamosh may find an opening for a submission too. So I'll go with Makhachev by decision. But you know what? No, fuck it. I'm going to be different again. I'm going to go Davy Hamosh, second round submission. How he gets Islam down, I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe that Makhachev at one point in time will take this fight to the ground. Maybe from after withstanding some heavy shots from Davy Hamosh, who, he's probably going to want to try to land the bombs on the feet. And if he catches Islam a couple times, Islam might, revert to wrestling, and then Hamosh could snatch up a submission from there. So I'm going to take second round Hamosh submission. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for it in the comments, but I don't give a fuck. You got to make some bold picks sometimes, and I think that Hamosh definitely has the tools to cash as a plus 300 underdog and holds a lot of value there, in my opinion. So I'm taking Hamosh by second round submission. Next up, we got Paul Felder versus Edson Barboza. Great fight in terms of styles. Both guys are strikers. They fought in the past, and I believe Edson Barboza won by decision. That went down back in July of 2015. And I think that both guys have definitely made some progression in their careers, and a lot has changed since that time too. Barboza has taken a lot of beating, and Paul Felder has been, putting together some good wins. Unfortunately, he broke his arm against Mike Perry in that fight and lost his split decision. But excluding that fight, he's on a 4-fight winning streak. Alex Ricci, Stevie Ray, Charles Oliveira, and then James Vick most recently. And this fight against Edson Barboza, I'm not sure how legitimate his opposition against Barboza will be here. He's currently holding around plus 140. So, at current odds, I think Felder holds a little bit of value, but I have no interest in betting him. I'm kind of looking at making a small play on Edson Barboza. I believe he is the better striker. I believe that I don't think that Paul Felder will put that pace and style on him that will break in Edson Barboza as we've seen in the past. I think we'll see him implement his leg kick game pretty early, start opening up his striking as well against Paul Felder. And as seasoned of a striker and fighter as Paul Felder is, I believe that Edson Barboza is the better striker hands down. So unless Paul Felder really tries to implement his takedown game, which I think he'll still have trouble even getting Edson Barboza down, I think that Barboza wins this fight on the feet. So I'm going to take Barboza once again by decision. I think that he could be worth a play if he reaches closer to the minus 140, minus 135 range. And we'll hit it like that, baby. I think that Barboza definitely could hit that realm too, because I think a lot of people are kind of still writing off Edson Barboza. So I would stay patient with that Barboza line, see if it gets a little bit tighter, and then drop the money there. So I'll take Barboza by decision. All right, that kind of pretty much leads us into our main event, which is where I'm going to have a guest come in and help our asses out. We got, let's see if we can get him on the phone real quick. He is a writer for MMA Oddsbreaker. He drops pretty much a prop betting selection every UFC event. We got my man Chris White on the line. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. I'm fucking psyched to finally have you on. God damn.
Likewise, man. I'm happy to be on here and talk with you.
Fuck yeah. Happy belated birthday. You don't have to reveal your age, so don't worry about that. But what? Perfect. You're probably younger than me, if anything. It's all good. I'm an old fuck now. So I just want to give you a quick shout out for your UFC 241 prop bet. You hit Derek Brunson by decision at plus 265. I was one of those chumps that bet fucking Ian Heinisch there. You saw the value in Derek Brunson there and hit that shit without pretty much any hesitation. What kind of went into that bet?
Man, looking back, I didn't have I wasn't really too big on Ian Heinisch overall. I didn't really think much of him. And if he couldn't take Derek Brunson down, where Ian Heinisch really shines at on the ground, and then Derek Brunson probably just outstrike him and whatnot, probably take him down, just control the range and the striking in the stand-up game. So I just took a shot, saw a little bit of value. And Derek Brunson's chin is always going to be an intangible there and whatnot, and getting knocked out. But I just took a shot on it. I thought that was worth a shot.
Man, that's some sniping shit right there. Because plus 265 on, I think a lot of people overlooked that decision from Derek Brunson too. I was one of them. I'm fucking guilty of it. I was so balls deep on Ian Heinisch. I thought he was going to win that fight, but you sniped that line, and props to you, man.
I appreciate it, man.
And you almost hit Yoel Romero by decision at plus 525. So I'm sure you're kicking yourself a little bit, but you're happy with the Brunson winnings, right?
Hey, yeah, for sure, man. That Yoel Romero was worth a shot too. Props to Paulo Costa. He's a beast.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right, I brought you in to break down one of the bigger fights of this year. I needed to get you on this card because I know you like yourself a little bit of Khabib, and I know you back that guy a lot. But right now at 5 dimes, you're getting Khabib at minus 460, plus 365 on Dustin Poirier. Khabib's coming into this fight pretty much undefeated almost his entire career. Dustin Poirier coming off a big underdog victory over Max Holloway as last time around. A lot of people wrote him off in that fight. A lot of people writing him off this time around. I am seeing a little bit of money coming out on Dustin Poirier. But where do you sit on this fight? Who do you think wins this fight? What's the best path to victory for either guy?
Oh man, so Dustin Poirier, he's starting to come into his own now. 30 years old. He's really putting it all together in the prime of his career. He has 2 losses in the past 5 years. Michael Johnson in the first round by knockout, and then of course with Conor McGregor first round TKO as well.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has some of the best wins in his career over Eddie Alvarez. The Max Holloway win, Justin Gaethje, Anthony Pettis. As far as Khabib Nurmagomedov, he's been out for almost a year now, but of course the biggest win of his career over Conor McGregor. So as far as the matchup goes, Dustin Poirier, if he can keep it standing, of course, that's his realm right there. Striking, knees and all that. But I don't think he can stop the takedowns from Khabib. Maybe he can force a shot at Khabib and catch him coming in with a knee. But over the course of 5 rounds, once Khabib really gets the timing down and whatnot, takes him down, beats him up, it's really hard to see Dustin win this fight outside of a flash knockout early on in the fight.
He is the teammate of another ATT stablemate, another major ATT stablemate, who landed a pretty impressive knee on another wrestler.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I never thought much of Ben Askren either, man. Never thought much of him, but I thought Ben Askren was gonna win that fight.
Oh, I think everybody fucking did.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
But I'm happy Jorge Masvidal.
Of course, there couldn't be anything better right now, especially with the Diaz and fucking Masvidal fight we might have coming up.
Hell yeah, I hope that happens. Hope both those guys get paid in a main event spot.
Main event pay-per-view, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Thank you. I don't know why the fuck I've been hearing other chit chat like, they should be co-main event. I'm like, fuck you. These guys are like easily the biggest names in MMA right now.
Yeah, Nate with Conor sitting out. Nate has to be one of the biggest names. He's 34 years old, but he's getting all the love and attention that he finally deserves.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's finally overshadowed Nick, but I hope we see Nick at least one more time in the future. But let's not stray too far away from the main event here. So you're going to go with Khabib. You think he gets a decision, or do you think he gets maybe a late TKO submission? What do you think?
I'm going to go with decision because, the first few rounds is probably going to be Khabib trying to tire out Dustin. Dustin's got a really good gas tank on. I don't expect him to gas out early or midway through the second round like Conor did with Khabib. I think Khabib is not going to try to finish the fight as well. He's going to take his time. And he knows Dustin has a good gas tank as well. He's going to take his time, beat him up a little bit. Hopefully, 3rd or 4th rounds when Dustin really starts, really well under the pressure of the takedowns and the grappling and the ground and pound. Dustin's really tough. He's got a good chin overall. I'm going to lean with Khabib by decision.
Nice. Current odds, like I said at the top, -460 Khabib, +365 Poirier. Is Khabib worth putting into a parlay at -460, or is the shot on Dustin Poirier at +365 the better? Like, in your perspective, is it the better move? What do you think is the better one?
Oh man, yeah, that's tough. I can see why. If I were to take Dustin Poirier, he's not going to win a decision in my opinion.
No, you'd take the end of distance.
Yeah.
Look at this prop master coming out.
Yeah, I would rather take a prop on him to win by TKO or inside the distance, maybe even a sub. He can force a shot on Khabib and maybe grab a Darce choke.
Ooh.
Justin's had really solid Darce chokes earlier in his career.
Poirier by submission at William Hill +1600.
Yeah, man.
There you
go. It could be worth a shot, but I'd rather take a little bit of a safer approach if I were to take Poirier and just be inside the distance.
Yeah, I like it. Are there any? I know we don't really have any prop bets out for the rest of the card, but is there one other prop you're kind of interested in? You may not have lined it or anything yet, but is there any other fight on the card where you're like, this, maybe Omari Akhmedov by decision might be a good prop or something like that? Is there anything out that has stand out to you since then, since you've looked at the card?
Let's see. Probably the co-main event, Edson Barboza and Paul Felder. They were the co-main event, right?
Yeah.
At bestbuydodds.com.
Yeah, you're right.
I think both those guys it's going to go to decision. I'm leaning Barboza, probably decision. I'm not really sure yet. I'm waiting for the lines and the rest of the odds to drop on that, to open up and see what they're lined at. But maybe Edson Barboza by decision.
I feel like he'll be around +100, +110 by decision.
Maybe Andrea Lee by decision as well.
Yes.
He can really handle Calderwood there.
I was breaking the card down before I called you, and I pretty much picked the same thing. I mean, I got Barboza by decision, and I'm probably going to go balls deep on Andrea Lee straight. I think that her price is going to get better as well, too. So she's creeping up around the -215 range, but I think that we could get her better than -200. So sit tight, my man.
Yeah, for sure, man. I really like Andrea Lay there. Probably open her up in a parlay or something. Not really sure yet on that.
Yeah. Any other thoughts you have on the card? Anything you want to quickly gloss over, or you good?
Man. Yeah, I think we're good here. Really like Khabib this weekend. Probably gonna take a shot on him by decision. Nothing too heavy. Just like a 1-2 unit play.
Nice.
Maybe open parlay him if any more money comes in on Dustin by fight day. So we'll see.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you finally fucking breaking your podcast. Should I say popping your podcast cherry? Did we do that?
Yeah, we sure did, man.
I know a lot of people fucking love following you. You're one of the bigger figures on MMA Twitter. So I was just like, yo, I gotta lock this motherfucker down. Let's get him on the fucking podcast. And we fucking made it happen. I love it.
Hey, hell yeah, I'm glad we got it done, man.
Yes, sir. All right. You guys can follow him at Chris White 209 on Twitter. And then you can see all of it. Do you do it just for pay-per-views or fight nights as well, those prop articles for Oddsbreaker?
Yeah, I'll do it for fight nights, the ESPN Plus cards, and then the pay-per-views. It's whatever. If I can find something I like, I'll write up something really quick and give a quick little breakdown on it and have it posted.
Perfect. This man is sharp. This man is fucking sharp. Make sure you guys read those articles. I always retweet it. I love my man. I always try to look out for him and shit. So appreciate you. Thanks for coming on, and good luck with the fights this weekend.
Hey, hell yeah, man. Take it easy. I'll see you then.
Later. All right. That was my man, Chris White. I had to bring this motherfucker on. You guys know him as Chris White 209 on Twitter. He's one of the more funnier guys out there. We've been talking for a long time on Twitter. It's about time that I finally linked up with him and did something proper like this. So make sure you guys follow me. He's a very sharp guy himself. Doesn't track as much as he used to, I believe, but always has great insight in terms of props, and he's been hitting them pretty steadily recently too. So make sure you guys check him out. My personal play, I didn't actually give it while he was on the line, but it is going to be Khabib Nurmagomedov, probably by decision. I see a lot of people making plays on Dustin Poirier. I'm just not that. The only guy, let's put it this way, the only guy that I'm fading Khabib with is Tony Ferguson. That's it. That's all I'm going to play. Like, if I can give Tony Ferguson roughly around that plus 300, plus 250 range again, I will play him. And I truly believe he has the best chance to beat Khabib. I don't think Poirier is going to be able to implement that striking game and keep the fight on the feet as much. And my man Chris White said it perfectly. If you want to bet that fight, the best value you'll probably get is Dustin Poirier inside the distance. Yeah, unless Khabib somehow drops massively to like minus 300 or something, I probably would keep him out of parlays. But minus 460, that's a little bit too much juice for me. So just like the Belal Muhammad fight, he should win, but I don't believe that the straight shot is worth it at least, or even keeping him in a parlay. So that pretty much does it for me. No official bets currently, but it will probably be the lock of the night as Andrea Lee. So make sure you guys keep an eye on that. Minus 200. That should be the trigger point, I should call it. That you should pull the trigger. At MMA LOTN on Twitter. Follow along. Some of my thoughts may change because that's what happens. We're fucking human beings. I will drop my plays soon. Check out the website MMALOTN.ca. The Lock of the Night challenge is going fucking great. Super excited about that. I'm in the middle of a move, so it's been a little bit challenging for me to complete that tape index for the UFC 242. But hopefully before you guys even get this episode, you guys will be able to feast your eyes on the tape index and hopefully get a little bit more help with your betting needs for this weekend. That's it. We're done. Thanks to my man Chris White for coming out. Thanks to my man Big Rob for hooking up the producing as always. And we will see you guys next week for don't even know whatever UFC event is next. Let me confirm that real quick before I let you guys out of here. Oh shit, it's Cowboy versus Gaethje. Holy fuck shit. All right. There you go. Cowboy versus Gaethje. We're going to be breaking down next week. See you guys next week. I'm out.